Take your spatula, scoop some creme anglaise, and draw a line between. And see if that holds, that means your creme anglaise is thick enough, which it does at the moment. Hi, I'm Hanbit, and I'm a pastry chef from Korea. Hi everybody, it's Hanbit here. 안녕하세요, 저 한빛입니다. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make the perfect crème anglaise. So what is crème anglaise? Crème anglaise, also known as the English cream, is basically a custard, and it's a custard sauce that is often paired with vanilla. Well, how does it work? It's the egg yolk inside the crème anglaise that works as a thickener and thickens the mixture into a consistency of a custard. Crème anglaise is a fundamental cream. It's used as a sauce by itself, for example on apple crumble. It's also used to make buttercream and in creamies or creme that are used in entremets or petit gâteaux, and so on and so on. Before I get on with it, I really want to stress that in this tutorial, I want you to focus on the technique that I'm using rather than the recipe. I've mentioned earlier that crème anglaise is a fundamental cream. It's used variously across different products. So what that means is that there isn't one universal crème anglaise recipe that suits every product. There will be different crème anglaise recipes for all the different products. However, the method and the technique will be the same for all of them. And therefore, I want you to take away the method and the technique that I'm using in this tutorial. Right ingredients. I've got milk, egg yolk, sugar, and vanilla bean. Crème anglaise recipe usually calls for milk or milk and heavy cream. Incorporating a bit of heavy cream results in a slightly deeper and a richer crème anglaise. Crème anglaise is usually paired with vanilla, but that's not always the case because there are so many variations now. You have Earl Grey crème anglaise where you infuse the Earl Grey tea into the crème anglaise. You can also have matcha crème anglaise, and so on and so on. I'll talk you through the method. The first step is to make vanilla milk by infusing the vanilla. And while that's happening, I'm going to combine the sugar and the egg yolk and mix it. Once the vanilla milk is ready, I'm going to let the temperature drop to around 60 degrees and pour it into my egg yolk and sugar mixture. And that's a process called tempering, which I'm going to explain later. I'm going to pour that mixture back into the saucepan and bring the temperature up to around 82 to 84 degrees Celsius. So I'm starting by scraping the vanilla seeds from the pod. Use the back of your knife and scrape the seeds. Have you clicked like and subscribe? I'm also going to add half my sugar into the milk. I'm just going to eyeball it. And now I'm going to turn it on. The sugar won't dissolve completely, but just try and dissolve it as much as possible. It's just come to a boil, so I've turned it off and I'm going to wrap it with cling film. Right, the mixture has dropped below 60. I'm going to start the tempering. Tempering is a technique or a method that you use to mix two mixtures of different temperatures, which we're doing right now. Just gradually add in the vanilla milk. And continue whisking. You will put it through a sieve at this point because you might either have lumps from the egg yolks or you might have a vanilla pod. In my case, I actually sieved the egg yolks beforehand, so that was super smooth, and also I didn't have a vanilla pod, so I didn't really have to sieve it in my case, but usually you would. I'll take a moment to explain how to raise the temperature to around 82 to 84 degrees Celsius. I've got an infrared thermometer here, which is not really suitable because it only measures the temperature of the surface. So in this case, you would have to use a probe thermometer. The second method is to check the consistency of your custard cream by just looking at it. Once the crème anglaise reaches 82 degrees Celsius, it will thicken and you'll be able to notice it. It's just a matter of taking it off the heat at the right time. The third method, which is my secret technique that I'm releasing in this tutorial, is to look out for the bubble. And you'll see what I mean by that because I'm going to use this technique today. Where do most people go wrong with crème anglaise? The most common mistake with crème anglaise is to curdle your eggs, and there are three main reasons for that. Firstly, it's likely that the heat was too strong. I usually put my saucepan on medium or medium-low heat when making crème anglaise. Second reason, it's likely that you didn't stir it constantly. When you're cooking on crème anglaise, you need to make sure that you're either whisking or stirring it constantly throughout. Some people use a whisk, some people use a spatula. I always use a whisk. It's definitely easier to work the edges of the saucepan using a whisk than a spatula. Finally, it's likely that you didn't stir it after you took it off the heat. What happens is the saucepan has a lot of residual heat, so that when you take it off the heat, you need to continue whisking, or else it will continue to cook the crème anglaise. So that was a lot of talking. I'm now going to get on with it. I'm now going to raise the temperature to 82 to 84 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to use my method of looking for the bubble. And as I've mentioned before, I'm going to use a whisk rather than a spatula. The heat is on medium-low. If you're worried, you can just use low heat throughout. And I'm going to whisk constantly and stir it. I've just used my infrared thermometer and it's not accurate because it's just measuring the temperature of the surface. But it still gives me a very good idea of how much I've left to go to 82 to 84 degrees Celsius. Right, it's at 70 degrees Celsius. I'm getting there. I just need to brace myself. If you whisk too vigorously, you might be generating too many bubbles yourself and you might get confused with the self-generated bubble which I'm looking for. Right, I'm getting there, and I'm going to look out for the bubble. Oh, there, you see, right, I've got the bubble. Just whisk it hard for 2-3 seconds, and then off the heat. I'm whisking so that the residual heat won't cook the crème anglaise further. Right, that's it. That's crème anglaise done. The consistency of my crème anglaise is such that I can see that it has thickened. I can definitely see that, but at the same time, it is slightly runny. So it's like a soup. Right, so there's my perfect crème anglaise. And now I'm going to show you how to check whether your crème anglaise is done or not. Take your spatula, scoop some crème anglaise, and draw a line between. And see if that holds, that means your crème anglaise is thick enough, which it does at the moment. Bear in mind that different crème anglaise recipes will result in crème anglaise with different thickness and different consistencies. The more egg yolk there is in the recipe as a percentage, the thicker it'll be in terms of the consistency. So the consistency that I'm showing you here is a very good guideline, but it's not a universal answer. So what you need to do now is just take a look at your crème anglaise. If it looks smooth enough, you can use it straight away. But you can either sieve it or blend it. In my case, I think it looks fine, but I'm going to sieve it. It's just a good habit. Is there a way to save your curdled crème anglaise? The answer is yes and no. If you have minor curdles and minor lumps here and there, then yes you can using a hand blender, and it will really bring it into a single mixture and make it seem like there were no problems at all. However, if you have seriously curdled your egg and literally made scrambled eggs, I'm afraid you'll have to do it all over again. Making crème anglaise is pastry 101. It's one of the most fundamental creams in pastry, so if you're half serious about baking, you need to learn how to make a good crème anglaise. So hopefully, this tutorial on crème anglaise was useful, and I'll see you next time with another Pastry 101 tutorial. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
I've tried some time, and I'm dying to tell you.